We'll see what happens. We have a long way to go. We'll see what happens. We're doing just fine. We're doing very well with the economy. Some numbers came out that are fantastic. Our economy now is better than anybody's in the world, and it has been for the last 2 years. But we're doing very well. And as far as the meeting is concerned, we'll see what happens.
All right, for more on everything, we're joined by Shai Franklin, Middle East analyst and a partner at Gotham Government Relations. Shai, it's great to see you here as always.
Great to be back.
All right, so let's talk about what Boris Johnson said here, which is that, and this is something that the president is wanting to hear from more world leaders. He said that he now thinks that there needs to be a new Iran nuclear deal. President Trump, this is music to his ears. Johnson's not exactly the first to suggest it, but he is the first to use, I think, strong language like this. Do you think him doing so changes anything?
Maybe it plays to President Trump's personality, let's say. I think it makes President Trump feel like he's had an impact. And even if the new deal looks a lot like the old deal, but it has a new sign on it, then President Trump can claim an achievement. And I think if the Europeans want to restore some stability in the Gulf and want to keep Iran from going nuclear, this could be a way to do it.
Well, for a while, the European signatories of the JCPOA really spoke in one voice and tried to do everything almost possible to keep the Iran nuclear deal alive, sometimes even overlooking Iran's regional destabilizing activities. But now we see Boris Johnson pulling in one direction. Emmanuel Macron of France was trying up until now to pull in a different direction. How much should this worry the Iranian regime?
I think
the change of tune.
The Iranian regime is worried more about the result than about how it looks. So if they can get back to the JCPOA or JCPOA 2.0, I think they'll be happy. They've raised the stakes a bit now. It's very difficult to respond militarily to the attack on the oil facilities in Saudi Arabia because the Gulf is so fragile. And the oil that passes through is so important to the global economy that I think the West's options are very limited, and so are the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates options. They're very limited. So Iran now may reach a point where they've made their point, they've made their case, Trump has made his case, and everybody can go back to maybe not directly at the table, but hopefully we can get back to where we were, ratchet down the sanctions a little bit from the U.S. side. And
Sounds
Iran,
like Trump might get what he wanted all along.
Well, it's not clear what he wanted all along because...
To renegotiate.
But the final deal could end up being basically what the JCPOA was.
Right, so but to your point then, if you're going to just slap a new name on the same old deal, it's a zero-sum game. I mean, nothing's been accomplished. Well,
it's a zero accomplishment. Well, I guess what maybe Tal's point was that President Trump gets some kind of political victory.
Sure.
That's true.
Possibly a Pyrrhic victory, but political nonetheless.
All right, so listen, we're still not sure if there's going to be any kind of meeting behind the scenes on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly this week. What do you think? Do you think that there should be at this point, or do you think that under the conditions that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, last week in particular, in the aftermath of the attack on the Saudi oil facilities, do you think that now is the actual time to start having, to restart some kind of dialogue or to start some kind of dialogue? Or do you think there needs to be more of a cooling off period?
Yeah, I think the Iranians are the consummate diplomats, going back thousands of years, the Persian diplomats. So I don't think that they would see a face-to-face between the two leaders as being the place to start the dialogue. Under President Obama, we didn't start the dialogue at that level. It was very indirect at first. Oslo was very indirect at first. So I think in terms of Israel and Palestinians.
Maybe something, as you're speaking, I'm thinking here, maybe something is already going on and we just don't know about it.
Possibly, but when John Bolton left recently as National Security Advisor, there was an expectation that, this means that there will be more President Trump is pushing to do more diplomatic outreach and less military threats. But Secretary of State Pompeo has made clear that he is not backing down on Iran, and he is not willing to compromise on Iran. And the president doesn't seem to be pushing back on that. He's left his options open a little bit. He said, I have no intention of meeting with Rouhani, but you never know what could happen. I don't see it happening this week.
Do you think everything in terms of any kind of dialogue or discourse is on hold until there's a clear picture as to how, whether it's the U.S. or the U.S. and Britain and perhaps France and Germany, might respond to the attack on the Saudi oil facilities?
Actually, Ideally, there would be the beginning of renegotiation before there's a response.
Okay.
That would then preclude some kind of response that could end up pushing us further away from a deal.
Okay.
Shai Franklin, thank you for joining
Thank you.
us.